Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review and impressions of a really cool knife I've had in my collection for a while now. This is the Brown Knives Yeager. This is version 3. This is the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive in the bronze anodized frag design. I really wanted that because, you know, Yeager, his other ones, Raptor, a lot of his knives are named after military tools and machinery and stuff. And I thought, you know, frag pattern makes a lot of sense. And I love the frag pattern. And I love this bronze mix because it also has this satin hollow grind blade finish. So I thought, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So this was my favorite, my favorite design and what I really was looking forward. They had some other beautiful designs out there. Definitely recommend them as well. And I think he, right now, depending when you see this video, he also has a pre-order that he's doing on his website for a Vanek Super Clean version. Mine is an M390. Does it say on here? I don't think it says on here, does it? Is it on here somewhere? I don't think it says it, but this is M390 blade steel on mine, which is cool. Absolutely cool. Love, love, love this blade. The action is ridiculous. Super, super sharp. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fun blade. So let's talk about this. The design, the name of it's called a Yeager version 3. So there's been a Yeager version 2 and then the original Yeager. This is the version 3. The manufacturer of this one is Riot Knives. They do a really nice job on this one. I really appreciate that. And the designer is Brian Brown for Brian Brown Knives. So check him out. He's got a bunch of cool different things out there. Met him at Texas Blade Show. Really, really nice guy. Matter of fact, he's got a Civivi version of this coming out. It's like a budget banger. Haven't seen it yet, but it's based on the Yeager design. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like that could be like an Elementum, a banter kind of type knife for Civivi. It could be a real staple for them if they know how to market it right and release it right, because it's just a gorgeous knife. Hopefully Brian is on board with that because I think it'd just be really cool. All right, so this one is especially cool. Now, I will tell you, when I first got this, I tuned it. I put skiffs in, and I tuned it, but it was really, really, really stiff. And so that was very uncomfortable. I was not super happy with the blade, and I ended up thinking I was going to sell it. So I took the skiffs out, and I kind of put it up for sale. Didn't really sell, which I'm really glad it didn't, because after handling it a bit, I thought, man, let me put some skiffs back in. Let me tune it one more time, and I did, because it was still a little bit tight. Now, if you like a really strong detent, you're going to love how this came out of the box. It's going to be perfect for you. It's going to be the absolute perfect knife for you. But if you like it a little lighter, if you tune this, this really can be an outstanding blade. So I did. I tuned this, which means I take it apart and I take out the little lock bar over travel stop that's right in here. Or if you can see that, there's a little lock bar over travel stop right there. You take it out, the scale's off, you bend this out a little bit. You got to do it very carefully, very slowly. And I just take like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters back, and it loosens the detent. Once I reassemble it, put everything back together, this lock bar is easier to disengage. You don't want to do it to the point where you have lock rock and it's not locking up solidly, where the lock bar is not engaging on the tang of the blade very solidly and locking it in place. That's really important you don't do that. And you don't want to warp your lock bar by bending it back and forth, so be very careful. I have videos on this. Actually, man, in fact, I have a tuning video on this very knife, I believe. So you can always look for that. Brown Yeager V3 on this one here. But once I did that, the action here was just really superb. I put skiffs back in, and I really enjoy the skiffs on this. The skiffs make this just such a fun knife. And it locks up really, 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 really well. So I enjoy that. It is a little rounded here, but it's rounded enough that it doesn't poke in. Boy, if that was any sharper, man, it would be a killer. But it works. It works. You can already see how rounded that is from carry, because I really do enjoy carrying this knife. And that's fine, because it kind of shows off the anodization, right? The bronze anodization there. Now, it's an interesting pivot. This is locked in place. It's a captive pivot. When you unscrew this, you literally are unscrewing this like this, and then this pivot, the screw comes out. So that's how it works. It's a little backwards, but once you understand that, I think it's perfectly fine. I love the fact that this is nice and chamfered. It's not too deep. There's his logo. Typically, his logo is on. It's typically here. Sometimes I'll have to put it somewhere else. I have a Trogon, which is another Brian Brown design that I really, really, really enjoy. It's one of the Wii knives right here, and they put his logo on the blade, right? So that's another Brian Brown design. one of my favorite Wii knives over here, because the action on this thing is ridiculous. And it has got that beautiful fuller and that thumb there as well. So you have multiple deployments as well. Can I? Yeah, I can top flip this one. So you could top flip it too, which is kind of a bonus thing, but it's a cool knife. Again, that bronze look I think is really cool, right? So that matches a little bit, you know, the aesthetic you can see here. I love that color. So I think it's kind of rugged, very useful type of knife. This also has the flipper. Jimping is pretty ample up there. I like that a lot. It is titanium scaled. I will tell you that there's a generous portion of milling in here, which does lighten the knife quite a bit. I don't know if you can see that milling in there. Can we get the light up there just right? So ample milling, which is really nice. It does take a lot of the weight, and we'll see that when we do the weights and measurements, right? The lock bar, like I said, works really nicely. Everything here works well. I love how this is kind of crowned on this back spacer. It's kind of crowned coming out. It's a nice aesthetic, and it's flat up here, so really cool. The frag pattern is definitely textured enough for grip. You can feel it. You get a good grip, but it's not so much that it's going to rip anything up. Now, here's where my hand comes in, and I have large hands, but big meaty fingers. So if you have extra large hands with regular size fingers, it's about the same. If you have double extra large hands with thinner fingers, it's about the same here. But I'm right at the edge, almost 3.5 fingers there. You can choke up. Absolutely, you can choke up here, or you could choke up here. You definitely get a bunch of extra room. If you choke up all the way up here, you then get a ton of extra room, I think, which is nice. This also works for a pinch grip. Pretty robust spine up here, nice swedge. You can still do a turn cut. It is a aggressive hollow grind. Can you see that? That hollow grind is super, super thin. Comes to a nice slicey edge, and it's super sharp. I love that. Strops up really well. This fuller thumb hole works really nicely. My finger can get in there just really nicely, and I can do it for the thumb as well. And then I can do that nice, oops, let me do that again. Do that nice slow roll open. You can do that left-handed as well. The slow roll works really well, right? You can do the nice reverse flick over. Oops, let me do that again. So do a slow roll. Doing it slowly. You do it too slowly, and then it's not, you know, it doesn't flick, right? But the flipper is really nice. It does work well, and some people will want a really strong detent on here, but I noticed that if the detent was super crazy strong, I would slip, just like it wasn't comfortable reverse flicking. So I loosened that detent up just enough where I can put my finger up here and I can flip it open. I can do the push button, it works well. I can do the light switch, it works well. But I don't feel like when I'm doing the light switch, my finger's gonna slide off because there's so much resistance that I can't really get traction, right? So I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's pretty stinking cool. I love the fact this lock bar comes all the way up here because you could get really close to that edge, right? So that's nice. Dead centered, dead nut centered, beautiful in and out of the box, even when I put the skiffs in there. So locks up really well. No blade play. You see, so we go up here. Yeah, no blade play. Any blade rock? No, we're in there. Any pivot play? I do have skiffs in there. That does help. So let's listen to the detent. Nice click. Nice click. Or as I like to say, clickety. Apparently I got a new word for that. So nice click or clickety. It's a clickety detent, which is cool. Let's do it this way. Oh, you can definitely hear that clickety, right? I don't know, I'm coming up with stupid words. All right, but yeah, it's nice. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm glad I decided to tune it. This is where sometimes tune small, and then don't be afraid to come back and tune it a little bit more if it's still not quite where you're at, right? If it's too much, then you start getting blade rock and stuff. You don't want that. That's not good. And then it's probably not for you, right, at that point. So, but you know, if you like this, and to me this is perfect, right? Really nice. I do believe there is yeah, there's a ramp. So this one also has a ramp, which is one thing I like Brian Brown does. He does get ramps on his blades, so you can see that ramp as it hits the ramp, and here's a lock bar. You'll see that right there. See how it goes up slowly? It's not a huge jump. It's because it's going over a ramp, which kind of helps that action, right? So when you're dropping it over here and you drop it like that, it's just really buttery smooth. And it feels very buttery smooth, especially with skiffs in there, which I highly recommend. So, by the way, if you didn't know, RNK10 saves you 10%. If you go to Skiff Caged Bearings or Skiff Workshop, which is also Skiff Made Blades, same place, but you get their caged ceramic ball bearings. And they're actually on phosphor bronze washers. And people are like, nah, that's not phosphor bronze washers. It actually is. They mill it out with a radiused a hole, and then the ceramic balls pop in there, and they're solid. They're solid like a full phosphor bronze washer, and they're held in place. And that's different than the OEMs. Most of the time they'll just crimp over the ceramic balls, and a lot of gunk and stuff gets in there. Not on Skiffs. So, and their tolerances are also a lot tighter. So it always feels like you're upgrading the knife. And in this case, that's what it felt like here. It really felt so much nicer. Now I get the big deal with Yeagers and stuff, and I've actually been carrying this quite a bit. So I'm enjoying that. Considering as many knives as I get and I review and I carry, this is I've enjoyed carrying that. So yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the measurements. So the blade is 4.4 ounces, which is not bad. I mean, it's got some weight to it, you know, definitely a pretty robust blade and a robust scale. It's not super, super thin, which makes a lot of sense, right? Let's look at the overall length on this knife, going from tip to back. So the overall length of this knife is going to be, looks like 7.5 inches. Yeah, so right at 7.5 inches is the overall length. The length of here is it's about 3.25 inches from here. If you go out to the very outside edge here, you got about 3 3/4 of an inch. If you choke up anywhere around here, you can get up to 4 and 4.25, maybe even 4.5, right? So it does give you some room. Overall blade length going from the tip to the back here, we're looking at 3 1/8 of an inch. So overall length of the actual blade itself, we're looking at, I want to say 3 1/16 of an inch. So that's the overall blade length itself. Let's look at the blade stock thickness. Oops, it's kind of a little challenging standing that up because you have to stand on the little pivot there, on the little flipper. All right, so let's see what we got here. So 159 thousandths of an inch, so 0.159, almost 0.16. So it's closer to 0.2 inches than 0.1 inches. So it's a thick one. It's a thick blades, definitely a thick blade stock thickness. So keep that in mind, which is cool, and why this hollow grind works out so nice. It really makes it very slicey when you come down here. It's such a thin edge, and it does sharpen and slice really nicely. So I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's really, really cool. All right, so what is the overall cost of this knife? Now, all the other variants that they had out there were definitely into the higher end version. There were 300 plus, right? Some of them were $400 or $500, depending on if you got the zirconium or Damascus. I mean, you could get $500, $600 variants of this, right? If you got the Damasteel, it could be even more, right? I got the one that's right at 300. I think it's just over 300. I can't exactly remember. There'll be a link down below, but it was not super cheap. I think its pre-order is a little more than 300 as well. I think it's 335 or 350. I can't remember. Maybe it's 369. I don't remember. Vanek Super Clean is definitely going to be more expensive, so it could be closer to 400. But it is definitely a premium knife, and Riot did a really, really outstanding job. Brian usually does a great job in his design, so I'm pretty excited about this knife. Yeah. So it definitely isn't the high-end knife. Now, mine might have been closer to the lower end of high-end, but it's definitely outside of the regular end. Now, you might find it on the aftermarket. You might get lucky. Maybe a used beat-up one you can get for less. But, you know, if you're going to get one of these, and especially if you want to pre-order that new Vanek Super Clean one, you're gonna pay a little bit. But I think it's worth it. I really do. So what's the purposes of this knife? Is it EDC, hard use? Is it a collection piece? I would say, yeah, it's all the above. I EDC this knife. I EDC all my knives. Any knife in my collection I carry, right? Now, will I go out and beat up and use it like crazy? No. I mean, especially this with a hollow grind, I'm not going to go out and be cutting steel or something heavy because that hollow grind is going to, that's a weak point, right? A hollow grind is meant to cut through something. And so that's its strength right there, cutting through. And with that hollow grind, you're just splitting it open and you can just kind of go right through it. So it's a great knife for its intended purposes. So I absolutely EDC this and use this to open up letters, envelopes, boxes. It works really, really, really nicely. Is it hard use? It's hard use for what I use it for, right? It's absolutely going to be hard use. Now, can I go out and chop wood and trees and things like, no, go get yourself a fixed blade or get an axe, right? Or get a chainsaw, whatever. But you know, if you're gonna try to, if you're surviving, and this knife has a good chance to help you to survive, right? I won't deny that. But make sure you have a fixed blade or something. That, I think that's the better tool for that. But for everyday EDC and carrying, this is an absolute strong contender, strong knife. I think it's going to work really, really well. And you could hard use it for that intended purposes. It can also be a collection piece. I like this design. I like the knife. I like the feel and the ergonomics of this knife. To me, this is just really nice. And I love the frag pattern on this one. This one's just different. I didn't feel like it needed all that other crazy extras or accoutrements, right? To me, this was enough. And this was very simple, but very strong and very, very resolved, very focused. And I like that. I like that a lot. So, yeah. Definitely a collection piece for me as well. So what are my overall, the ergos and feel and my overall feelings on the design? So ergos and feel, I feel like the handles are great. I love the texture. It's beautifully chamfered all the way around. There's no sharp spots. Even with these edges here, they're rounded, so they're not sharp. Like the Chavez Rendition 229 had really crazy sharp spots from Riot. I'm surprised they didn't fix it, but just very uncomfortable. And fortunately, I got one that didn't have any anodization, so I could fix it myself. Otherwise, that would be a knife I would have probably have sold and not kept, right? So that's the benefit of sometimes not anodizing it and getting it raw titanium. You can fix things that, you know, work for you and your aesthetic and things that you enjoy. So, you know, if that's your cup of tea, then I would say go for it. Overall design, the open, you know, the open and close is just beautiful. I love the open and close. Action is nice. Keep your finger off the lock bar, and it's very buttery smooth closing. I like that. It is a little shake rock closing. I feel like it's going to break in more. It's definitely gotten a lot smoother. I mean, even since I put in the skiffs, it's even gotten smoother. So I like that. I like that a lot. But the opening, just really enjoyable. The flipper works really well. The fuller works really well. The slow roll works really well. All of that is just really nice. And I think, yeah, I got bonus flick too. You absolutely get bonus flick because you see the hollow grind right there? You have access to it and you get your finger in there and it just pops open. Likewise with the reverse, it works as well. So you get bonus flick, which is nice, right? It's definitely an unexpected pleasure. The jimping, there's no jimping up here, but it's nice and flat. And when you do choke up, you're pretty strong presentation. You got good texture on the blade, so it's going to hold you in place. I feel like it's really solid as far as that. And yeah, there's no lanyard loop, which to me is like perfectly fine. I'm happy about that. The clip is nice. Like I said, it is rounded here. It could be a little less sharp, but it does work. It goes into that spot where you're okay. At least for me it is. So I like that. I like that a lot. Opening and closing the overall feel. It's just nice. It's very buttery, especially with skiffs. I really do recommend that. It's really cool. It's really cool. And I'm really digging that overall kind of feel with the skiffs in there and how it opens and closes. I just think that's really stinking cool. So I like that. Yeah. So what's my fidget factor? Well, you know, you've got the thumb holes. Both work really well. You got the bonus flick there. Oops, I'm getting down there. Sorry. I just did it. Come on. Why am I not doing that? Hold on. There we go. Just not getting my finger in the right spot. There we go. Yeah. Sorry. And you got the flipper. All that works really nicely. I think the flipper and the thumb holes work fantastic. The flipper and the thumb hole works just great. Both left and right-handed, it works really nicely. But the bonus flick is nice too, because you can, at least I could, I don't know what's going on here. It's kind of dry in here. There we go. It was kind of moist outside, and so normally I always had a little texture, but it's drying off in here. So, but that works out really nicely. I like that a lot. So fidget factor, I'm going to give it would at least have been a 5, maybe a 6. So I'm going to give it a 7. A 7 with the bonus flick. You get a full 7. You're not just a 6. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Fidget factor, which is pretty good. Pretty good for a very simple design, yet, you know, very intentional. So I would say fidgety goodness out of that. It's very satisfying. Closing is nice. I wish it was a little more, you know, control shut drop, but yeah, I want to say 95, maybe 100. If nothing else, it's a 97.5. So it's right between a 95 and 100. It's darn good. Only reason why it's not 100. The only reason why I think it's not 100, and it's a small one, is the bonus flick. Yeah, but everything else is so nice. All right, I'm gonna give it 100. Yeah, the more I think about it, I can't knock it off from the bonus flick. I mean, even that's just nice, but everything else is 100. It's just good. It's just good. Yeah. So fidgety goodness, I'm gonna give it 100. I like it. I like it a lot. Overall thoughts? Is it recommended? Absolutely. Absolutely recommend it. It's part of my collection now. I enjoy this knife. It was one that almost got away, and I think I would have been very disappointed had I not taken a second stab at tuning it. So it's absolutely going to be a recommended knife, and I think it's something maybe you should consider having in your collection as well. I think you would be very pleased with it. So just my two cents on there. Hey, what do you think? You think I'm an idiot? You like what you hear? Or you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts? Do you have a different perspective on it? I'd love to hear from you, especially in the comments. Don't just tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me why. Right? We can have a good discussion. Even if you think I'm an idiot, that's okay. I'm all right with that. You know, I may think the same of you, but I'm not going to say that. I'm going to give you the reason why I disagree, right? But, you know, we can agree to disagree. That's the joy of knives. You may love something that I may not, and I may love something you may not, and that's okay. You know, and we both may love something we both like, or we both may at least be able to appreciate something about a knife that we hadn't thought about before. So I like that. I like that about the knife community. So yeah, absolutely recommended knife will be in my recommended list for sure. So there we go. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or entertaining, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel to produce more content, do more things, ultimately maybe do more things for you guys. So thank you to all of you guys who watch the videos, who like the videos, and just enjoy the videos. I very much appreciate you. And yeah, if you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button there as well, so you can be notified of future content like this video. Really, really appreciate you guys. Even if you just watch, enjoy the videos, and be part of the live stream, I appreciate you. And then to all the channel members, a big, huge thank you. Thank you for everything you do and for being part of this channel, supporting the channel. You mean the world to me, literally. You allow me to do more than I could sooner without you guys. You guys really are instrumental. I mean, I appreciate everyone out there watching the videos, supporting the channel. Man, you guys are amazing. But channel members allow it to happen a little more faster, allow me more fasterists. I don't know. I'm going to make up words here. Faster. And I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. And a small way for me to say thank you, I do a once a month channel members giveaway. So keep an eye out for that. It's usually a very exclusive knife, something really nice, because you guys have been so generous with the channel memberships. So I want to be generous to you guys. I want to make sure it's worth something you would want to actually have in your collection. So that's my small way to say thank you. It's not to bribe you. It's not to try to force you. If you just enjoy listening to the videos, watching the videos, being on the live stream, I appreciate that. Genuinely appreciate that, and I couldn't be happier, right? But if you want to take the next step, or are on the fence and say, I'd like to become a channel member, check the description down below. I have 3 different tiers, like I said. So please feel free. I would be honored to have you as any one of those. And if you're a brand new channel member, like you just signed up, or you've been a channel member for a while and you're still signed up, and you've never asked for a sticker, whether you were a channel member, lost your channel membership, came back, if you've never asked for a channel sticker, email me with your name and address. I would love to mail you a sticker. I'd be honored to do so, okay? So thank you to all of you guys out there. I'd love to do that. And if you're an Uber nerd, remember, let me know so I can get you the Uber nerd special sticker. That's different. All right, well, big, huge thank you to all of you guys out there. I am just humbled by every one of you guys. Also, if you haven't found me, if you haven't considered following me on Instagram, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.